Shloka, I know you've studied at Princeton and LSE. Maniti, you've been at UCL and Imperial. You both have clearly had ambitions for your career, right? What were they like growing up?
To be honest, I always saw myself somewhere in this space. I studied anthropology at Princeton and then law at LSE for my master's. But both at Princeton and at LSE, we had to do a thesis and then a master's dissertation. And both times I chose topics in the social sector to work on. In particular, I've been passionate for a long time about education and just, the Right to Education Act. So when I moved back to Bombay, in like 2014, I immediately started working in this space. Like I did a bunch of internships which were all across the board to like test things out. But I think one of the most profound things that I did was I taught in a private preschool for a summer, and then I taught in a Teach for India school the next summer. And then just the stark disparity in terms of opportunity, really got to me. So I was very clear very early on that I would be in this space. So yeah, my ambition has always been to be here. I started off being like a donor or a grant maker for the Rosie Blue Foundation, which is a role I still continue to enjoy. But while I was doing that, for me, the challenge was there were so many incredible nonprofits. And with CSR, you're always limited by the fund, right? Like I only have so much that I can spend. And so it really bothered me that we couldn't do more. And so that's sort of where the idea of ConnectFor was seeded. We've known each other our whole lives. And I couldn't have picked a better person to, do this journey with, who had a shared vision and all of that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I think my journey is very different to Shloka's. I never saw myself in this space. I was a hardcore science student in school. I loved my sciences. I studied biomedical science at UCL. Also did a bunch of internships in the healthcare field. Was pretty happy and passionate about it. I then continued to work at, my first job was actually at a healthcare consulting company. So I was like making PowerPoint presentations and crunching numbers till like 3 a.m. And then I think at some point I just was really tired. Like just 1 year into that, I was like really tired. And I'm like, okay, even if I get promoted or I do the next, then I go up the ladder, I am not feeling fulfilled. That's when I reached out to Shloka, not to start anything, but I was like, hey, I need to find some meaning in what I do. That's when she threw the idea of ConnectFor at me, and I was like, cool, you know what? Let's build this, and I'm ready to quit consulting. I do not know how we've reached 10 years, and the first day when we went to office and we had a blank whiteboard and we put down what we wanted is so clear in my head. I know exactly where I'd written what on that whiteboard. And I think I never looked back. I think the idea of building something new is really exciting for me. So I could see the impact of my work daily. And I think just doing everything from scratch. I think I am like that as a person. I like to be part of the whole process. So I think when I built ConnectFor, I was, there from creating the first Google form, which was sent to volunteers, thinking of the questions and now.
Yeah.
So I think for me, it's okay, I've built this and this has every piece of my thoughts and Shloka's thoughts in this. So now I like this and this is what I enjoy. So I think for me, ambition is more about building new things. So, and I don't think we're done with ConnectFor yet.
No,
so there's lots to build. So I think we have a
So when you wrote on that whiteboard, has a lot of that come to life?
Honestly, it's really interesting because Maniti and I started out really scrappy. I was like, Maniti, you have to read this book. It's called MVP. I mean, the Lean Startup. And in it had the whole conversation about a minimum viable product. And also when we started out on that whiteboard, initially it was literally that, find 50 people, find 10 NGOs and make connections. That was the
Your
beginning
goal.
And then the nexus of how will we find them, what area should we go to, how will we reach them, and breaking down that process. And I think what was amazing for us is, look, we're very honest about our own backgrounds. We've come from a great degree of privilege ourselves. It's not like we knew what we were signing up for. But when we started like that, we visited every single nonprofit that we onboarded. So we literally went everywhere from Devnar to like Chowpatty to like Shivji Nagar and Govandi, and I think it was so eye-opening for us at the time that every time we came back and added a note to our whiteboard, being like, this is what we're going to do next, and this is what we're going to do next. But a lot of it came true. I think more, I don't even think we knew what we were stumbling upon at that point in time. Like,
I fully agree. I think when we started, because like for me at least, it was like, okay, 6 months, get this website up and running, and there'll be like this fully automated process where like,
Of course not.
where like, somebody will sign up, and then
Yeah.
there'll be an automated email that will go to.
And then came the 100 WhatsApp.
Yeah. And like, I think even WhatsApp was evolving at that time, to be
Even
honest.
that
It was
much.
like 10 years ago. And I mean, it was just, I think the personalized visits, like Shloka said, when we went, I think we visited 100 NGOs in 20 days in November of 2014, and we launched on December
Wow.
5th.
yeah.
I think we were so personally invested. Okay, like this nonprofit really needs a website.
So, what did you went to the nonprofit and
I mean, we
you
would
did what?
call them up and we'd just be like, hi, like, we're two girls. We really want to start this. We think there's like a, lot of potential. And at that point, even getting a meeting with the right person was challenging. So we did it. We did like many calls. I think out of like 150, 200 calls, maybe 100 would convert. And then we'd like make calendars with maps because, like I said, we'd never gone to these parts of Bombay before. And we did use like Google Maps and be like, okay, we can finish these 4 all in one day. We went to TIS to see what it was like over there, what the students were thinking. And once we got there, we had like a very simple like A4 sheet being like, this is the service we provide. This is what we need you to provide. Like, please sign and then we'll onboard you as a nonprofit. And everyone we met was like pretty skeptical. Especially the bigger nonprofits, because they were like, oh, we have our own platforms, like people can volunteer through our websites. And we were like, yeah, but the pipeline is too long. Like somebody will fill out a form on your website. By the time you get around to like sifting through all of it, it's too late. That person's already,
lost
like
interest?
You said, lost interest, And so it was the smaller ones initially that were really excited to work with us. And I remember, one of the first NGOs we signed worked with, like the children of sex workers, and we were so excited when they came on board, and they really needed like 10 or 15 different volunteers for everything from helping with their website to like coming and teaching classes on the weekends and things like that. And when we couldn't find a volunteer, I was like, I'll volunteer. I'm going to go and teach them creative writing, because we were so excited to just convert things into a success.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think once we got one and we could talk about that one to the next one, everyone started coming on board. And for us, it's always been that, look, you have nothing to lose. We don't make the nonprofits pay. They don't like lose anything by signing up with us. So I think they all recognize that best case, they'll get loads of things that help them. Worst case, they're just part of a website that they never hear from. And so far, fortunately, at least from the feedback we've received, it's mostly been best case for all our partners. And we got a lot of word of mouth referral, which helped a lot. Like, because the social sector is quite connected. So then one NGO would tell us, hey, like, I know somebody here, go and meet them. And like I said, like once we started meeting the right people, things happened really quickly.